have something special to share with those of you who have a child or a stepchild who, because of divorce or separation, is required by law to go and stay with the other parent for a period of time. It doesn't matter if it's a weekend or even just a day, or if it's a week or a month. These experiences are often, I hope usually, fine. The child comes back just fine and they had a good time with the other parent. But the particular child that I'm talking about in this situation is one with a parent, with the other parent, who is not a particularly healthy individual or couple. There could be abuse in the home. It could be verbal or physical. It could be neglect. It could be basically ignoring the child's needs or their need for a certain activity that they had their heart set on, or maybe it was even agreed on. So it could be just not following through on something that even this other parent said that they would do. All sorts of situations, all sorts of experiences the child may have. But the idea is that when this child comes back home, their family that they're coming back to now has a child that is often out of sorts. They could be withdrawn, depressed, just plain sad. They could be belligerent even. Depends on how the child handles these emotions. So what I want to share today is both a tool and a method for you to deal with this. This is not going to be like a cure-all thing, but it is going to give you a specific way to help this child readjust to home life, but even more importantly, just do some adjusting inside their little hearts that have had just some kind of trauma or just an emotional disappointment or whatever it might be. So depending on the age of the child, you're going to handle it differently, but the basic idea is that you're going to have what I'm calling an R&R treasure box. And the R&R can stand for any two R's that you want it to. I'm kind of thinking renew and refocus, but it can be any two R's that you want, or you could have it be R and R and R, whatever you want, and you come up with your own name. So there are several things inside this box, and I'm going to be showing you these in just a little bit, but several things that you know your child would enjoy and be blessed by, and that would be just comforting and nurturing to them. And so what you want to do is start with all of the items that you decide to include in your container of whatever it is. And several ideas for that are, it could be a box like this. This is just a pretty box with, you know, these little handles on the side. It can be a suitcase, a pretty suitcase. It can be a duffel bag, a backpack. There's all sorts of things that you can use as your container. But you want to start with all the things that you're going to put into it. So I have a free printable that's going to include ideas, everything that I'm going to actually be sharing. So you don't really need to take notes. And one of those lists is going to be numerous items that you could include in one of these treasure boxes. So what you want to do first is get all of the items, and they can be things you have around the house. They can be used, they can be new, but they need to be things that would be meaningful to your child. So you'll gather them all up, and then you decide what size of a container to get. So you don't want to start with this one really cute container, but turns out it's too small for all the things that you want to put into it. So before you would give this to the child, you are going to introduce it to them. You're going to sit down and just have a nice talk. You might get a cup of tea if they like tea, or whatever their favorite beverage is, and just sit down and say, we have something that we want to talk with you about. It would be ideal if both parents did this, but one parent alone can do it as well. And so you would say, we know that when you get home from other parents, that you probably have some things to deal with, things that are kind of like baggage that feel heavy to you. We really want to help you come back into home life and deal with these things in such a way that you just don't stay burdened by them. We don't want you to have to carry this by yourself on your own. So we have something special that we want to do with you. And it's this, and so you would explain what it's about. So so you would do this with the child, and then they would know what everything is that you're going to open up and now show them. So I'm going to go ahead and show you now what is in the one that I'm putting together for a friend. One thing would be a favorite blanket, and the nice fuzzy one, I put a ribbon around it even though the blanket is older. Got a pretty mug, and that would go in there. We've got a stuffed animal and a pretty glittery nail file. Of course, it can be just anything that you know your child would enjoy. I've got a coaster for the mug. I have a little votive candle here. That's kind of fun. Now it's obvious, I think you can see that these are for a girl. Some of them are going to overlap with boys, but this is a hot and cold eye mask. And so this would be for a child that maybe deals with headaches upon getting home. And so they would have that. I've got some lemongrass bath salts, which I actually talk about, show you how to do in another video. And that would be nice for a bath or even just a foot bath. Almond Joy we got here. Candy bars for a little joy. And then I've got some earplugs just in case the household is noisy and those work for your child. And another little treat, just a little bag of cookies. And then I've got a little duck that's a princess, and that's to remind her that she is a little princess and a daughter of the Lord, the King Jesus, Daddy God. Got tissues, a pretty pack of those. Other treats, I've got here some more chocolates. And if candy is not done in your house, then just don't do any candy. Got a little tiny Bible, and it's not a big full one, but it's just got lots of little verses that would be sweet for the child. And then I've got a journal, and this is just for them to write in. You could even give them a pretty pen to go along with that. And then this is just a plain eye mask. It's not a hot and cold, it's just a plain eye mask, again, for a nap. And a little pillow. That would be just fun to have just for their, I call it re-entry time back into being at home. And then we've got some hand lotion, and you would, if you know that they have a favorite fragrance, then get that. We've got some gummy treats here and a tea bag that can go into the cup, the mug. And then if you have a child that enjoys art, get them some kind of a special art kit, or you could do, whatever medium they like, but just anything that they would enjoy. Art is definitely therapy for kids and adults, and so that's one thing that's fun to have. And then I've got some other items back here. Some kind of a book is a good idea. This one says, Hope Your Heart Needs. So it depends on the age of your child, as to whether it's appropriate, the print size and the text as well. So that's one idea. Thank you, Jesus, daily prayers for life's ups and downs. So that's something like that is a good idea. And then this one is another journal. This one just says on the front, delight yourself in the Lord. So all of these are things that would just minister to the child and just help pull them out of being in a funk. They may need, like if they enjoy back rubs, then that would be something fun for them to do with whichever parent would want to do that. The idea is to just kind of create a little oasis for them so that they can just kind of, I don't know if debrief is quite the word, but just let out their frustrations and feel nurtured. Especially if you have other children, you're not going to be able to just dedicate, hours to this one child. But the idea is that these things in here are prepared specifically for them to bless them and help them and just give them something to do other than just withdrawing into their room and just being sad. This way they know that you've thought of them ahead, especially since you sat down and told them all these things. So that's the extent of my ideas. I would love to hear from any of you who have some other ideas. Oh, one other one I had was a diffuser. That's something that you can put in one of their favorite oils, 1 or 2 or 3, whatever. And I know some have some fun names like Calm, Serenity, Peace. Not that that's where our peace comes from, but it's just a nice fragrance to have coming out of that little diffuser and filling up the room and just making them feel nurtured. So if you do have any of their ideas, I would love to hear about them either by email or in the comments. And also, I do have that free printable that has all of these ideas on it, lists of things that you can use for containers, ideas for items you can put into your container, whatever it ends up being. I also have ideas for what you can say to your child to introduce the idea to them. And there'll be a few other things on there as well. So I hope you enjoy this idea. I would love to hear from anyone who actually uses it and just how it went and any other ideas that I might want to add on. So thank you so much for listening. I hope this